Hello, welcome to the Laura and Benny show. Stop laughing at me, we're straight in.
I'm terrified of this. You two are far too noisy now, I must say.
Far too noisy. But with weddings full steam ahead, we're in the busy wedding season. We thought it would be a really good idea to actually talk about wedding stationery. And to do that, of course, we have Jade from the Wedding Scribblers. Jade, thank you so much for coming in.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Are you excited?
Yes, actually.
I'm terrified.
Benny, it's usually more men though, to be fair. It's like there's so many men in the wedding industry, and actually I'm usually outnumbered at this table. It's usually like 3 lads and me.
There you go now, big girl power.
Completely outnumbered. But I suppose I'm going to just jump straight in. 2022. We're calling it the year of the wedding. How are you finding it?
Yeah, very much the same, very busy. I suppose for us, we have people touching base again from postponements even.
Yeah.
And they're getting excited as well. And then we have people who are kind of been shopping around during
That's it.
COVID and stuff, and they're ready to get going too. So yeah, it's busy. Great to have it though.
But with you guys, I know like the volume of weddings, and it's different for us. It's kind of a case of we can do one wedding on a day, and once that wedding date is booked, like it's kind of a case of you have to say no to everybody else.
Yeah.
But for you guys, it's a different structure, and I suppose you can do like a much larger volume when it comes to the number of couples, even getting married on the same wedding day.
That's true, yeah.
But is it a case of, and I know that like everybody has their own timeline when they decide to send their invites, and like there's loads of advice out there, do it like 6 months, 3 months, 2 months, and I suppose it's kind of what you're comfortable with, and some venues kind of ask for like, you know, the finalized numbers at different stages. But I suppose for you guys though, it's kind of a case of like how much, when it comes, because time frames are so important. And when it comes to like, so the couple have decided they're going to go with just invites for now. We'll talk about it because there's so much to stationery.
We have a lot.
But when it comes to the invites, like what's your time frame when it comes to, do you know, like the design, I suppose. We'll start with that. Yeah.
So I suppose every couple is different. So that's something to understand, and like that, when you want them out is your personal preference. But like usually people are like, what does everyone else usually do? And we would suggest 3 to 4 months, but at the moment as well, you would have to consider what time of year you're getting married. Yeah. Because if you're thinking of a bank holiday or Christmas, you also have to think now there's a lot more weddings, and they are very popular times of the year.
You're kind of getting in there first or someone else
you
does.
You need to be like, this is my wedding day, put it in your calendar. Like,
RSV to mine, not theirs.
Yeah.
I love it.
People who still like 2023, and they're like giving on to us now, and we're like, get your save the dates out. Like, do you know, because even that would be a way to have your guests know, heads up, I'm getting married. Because we have.
And I suppose internationally, I suppose you got to allow for people like booking flights and like saving to actually go to the wedding.
A wedding might be the first time that a whole family might be together again, like because of the climate that we've had the last 2 years. Yeah. So it is like it's a really big event for people, and like especially when people have been postponing them, they're really disheartened. Yeah. So it's like, yes, it's finally here. You really do appreciate it more. Yeah. But we would like the timeline. We would suggest 3 to 4 months before the wedding would be a good time to send out an invite, and then maybe a month before that touch base with us. At the moment, like you said, we don't book up, so we are able to take on a lot of work. But if we have a heads up that you want to come to work with us, you're kind of like, it's first come first served basis with us. Yep. So you're kind of in there before the busyness, if you will.
Yeah. Okay. So like 4 weeks, like you can get like the whole process done in terms of if someone contacted you 4 weeks before they wanted to send it out, they could get a design, get a print back, send it out, write it up if they need to write it up or whatever it is, and send it out. The current turnaround that we have at the moment is once you come in and have a consultation, we show you around different styles. We have over 170 designs to choose from.
Wow, okay.
We have like a lot. It's for everyone really. We have a bit for everything because everyone is so different. They want different things all the time. And we do a bespoke service too, so that would be where we like do a one-stop design that would just be for you. So it's very good when people want themes or characters or stuff like that.
Okay, and do you get that a lot? Do you find that people are like really personalising?
I think people don't realise that, like, obviously everything on a wedding day is going to be personal, but like a venue could be used by a lot of people. You know, floral comes and goes, different trends. Yeah. The stationery is really how you can put you on the day. Like literally, like the table plan will be a reflection of you. It could be places that you have travelled as a couple. Yeah. Do you know, on the invite it'll be like your favourite song words maybe you could put in it, or like how you want to run the day, or like you know your guests the best. So like the signage will be like, I know my guests are all smokers. They're going to be out in that smoking area. I need to have one that's like, get back in on the dance floor.
I love it.
Or like, I know my guests are really bad with directions, so I'm going to have road signs going up to the place. Like it's really how you can put it on yourself. I love that about the smokers, because like when we go to weddings, so like I suppose the culture has changed.
It's so true.
The culture has changed, like that most people don't smoke, or they're moving away from smoking, but
They're still vaping though.
But when you have a smoking crowd, like a pub crowd, that like their friends are very orientated around the pub or a couple of pubs, and they're smokers. Sometimes you can have 40 people out in the smokers.
Oh yeah. We're in the drinks reception going, where are the guests? Has anybody seen the guests?
But that's interesting that they actually do like stationery for that.
Definitely, yeah. Or like, you know, if they want to have like photo booths and stuff like that, and they really want the guests to get involved on the day, or we do like, you know, little bits on the tables, like icebreakers. So if you had a table that was like a lot of mixed people that don't know each other, you'd be like, oh, I'd put little like joke cards or like ice cards.
Do you know that so-and-so did this? Like
he wouldn't be allowed to.
You know that Jade once did this, and Jade's like, oh.
I don't think she meant it that way, Eddie.
We don't want to start fights or anything, so it's like a friendly thing. But so they're really kind of, it is a way to really put your stamp on the day.
But I suppose the invite is the first thing that people see as well, isn't it? So it kind of like sets the tone for how the rest of the stationery, or even the wedding day. So I suppose the obvious thing, you know, the way the traditional thing was like, so if I'm having burgundy bridesmaid dresses, there would be some sort of a hint of a burgundy. Is that still there?
That's still there.
Okay.
I think people want to give people a heads up so they don't look like
Don't
part
wear
of
the
the
colour.
wedding party, you know? Which is true enough, like I suppose. But
Girls would be horrified. Like I genuinely had like, and it's so funny. And we make a joke out of it and get them to take a picture with the bridesmaids, because you have to kind of like, there's nothing you can do. You can't get changed. It's kind of like, we have had days where there's been girls and like it's the same material as well as like, it's not the same cut, but it's the same material, same colour, or somebody's wearing the same shoes as the bride. But like it happens, but there's nothing you can do about it. But it is a nice way, I suppose, to kind of just say, try and stay away from that if you can.
Yeah. Like that, and like trends come and go as well. So you see it all coming and going, like, or people like their venue might be like really rustic, so they want to kind of keep with that theme. And like we work with Have and Told as well, so we really understand the dynamic between the decor and the stationery and how they kind of can play off each other. So it's good as well when people come
That's
on board.
such an amazing partnership to have though as well, because especially if the girls are actually in, like, and they're the ones that are physically putting the decor together, from the design to physically putting it on the table.
And when you're working with them as well, it kind of takes less stress off you too, because we can hand everything over to them for on the day, so you don't even have to. You're like,
here you go, Sandra.
Signage, and the girls are like, we got it, let's go. You know, and they set everything up for you. So they're great, and it's really great to work with them.
That's really good. And I suppose then with like the invites, because I don't want to like jump away from it too quick.
No, but I want to mention on the
Do you? Go on. No, she's like really excited about telling us all about the stationery.
Straight on to colours of bridesmaids' dresses, like can you bring it back a little bit?
Sorry, we got excited about the girly things.
Timeline.
I'm all about lead times, workflows, and processes.
I'm like, what am I wearing?
The logical stuff.
But I'm concerned about like this spring, summer is going to be mental, and even like autumn is going to be mental. So like, do you have the capacity? So we're saying like 4 weeks, like someone should make contact with you. Yeah. But like, so if people show up like 3 or 2 weeks beforehand, they kind of run the risk of there might be like, you already have a big workflow or big orders. Can you still take the orders on, or and how much is it problem like that they're kind of rushing at the end?
So we don't like to ever turn anyone away, like, you know, especially especially if they are stuck for time because they already are under a bit of pressure. Usually our timeline is, to answer the original question, so you pay your deposit and that puts you on the work list, and currently it's a week to 10 days before you get your first digital proof. So it's a first come first served basis, kind of it works off. And then once you get that, you work with your designer back and forth via email, and that can usually be up to maybe a week. It's usually just tweaking information, making sure that everything is correct.
Spelling.
And so important, because we don't really we don't pay attention to spelling because we just want it to look amazing. So we're like, read the content, make sure your numbers are right for the
names of the churches like slightly spelled, sacred, scared.
Especially if you spell check things like that stuff goes in like Ballydehob.
Yes, of course.
That's not spell check's not going to know that place. You know, so you're like, guys, is that right there? That's
but even names though. I mean, like people, and like even first names, people spell their names. Like Aoife can be spelt probably 4 or 5 different ways.
Before I had a Patrick with a Y in it, and I flagged it with the couple, and I was like, it was on a table plan, and I was like, is this meant to be an I? And they were like, oh no, he's Polish, it's actually Patrick with a Y. And so you can't even assume they probably spelled that wrong. I corrected. You know, you do have to be like, please read through this really carefully and make sure it's perfect.
You'd nearly want a few eyes on it, wouldn't you? Like for the couple, like they have a look and then maybe throw it at like someone else as well and have a look.
As well, of course. But so we put you on the work list, and after all that back and forth, usually that isn't much, then a week. Like that, it depends how many changes you have. If you have a custom design, it might be a bit more if you want to tweak that. But usually max 2 weeks. And then our printing is usually 3 to 4 working days. So we do we do all in-house printing. Cool. So we have the luxury of having a fast turnaround for people. And like that, we can do tweaks if needed for the table plans as well, because sometimes people have 2 weeks where they have to have that in, where like you're going to have people nearly right up to the line and being like, oh, can I make one today? And
some people are so cool about things. They're like, oh yeah, we'll get that done tomorrow.
Like, hey, no, I'm going to collect that in 2 days. Can I just take this person out? You're like, let me see what I can do. And you're like, okay, it's done.
And in terms of the printing, so you've great in-house printing, and I know that. Yeah. But like, so is there a danger, like, if the summer is so mad, that it might just creep out a little longer?
It might. That's what I'm saying. Currently, it is 3 to 4 days. Yeah. Like you said, we're very aware of the deadline. It's a deadline that cannot be moved. It's your wedding day, you know. So we do have to like prioritize things for that as well. We do have a rush fee. Yes. So if you do come and you are like, my wedding is literally a week's time and I need these booklets done, we're like, get contacted now. We put on a priority. There's a rush fee, and then put you to the top of the list. Yeah. We don't suggest people to go for that, because it is, even for yourself as a couple, stressful then, because you're like at your email the whole time back and forth with us.
But everybody has like different way of planning their wedding. Like even last week, we got a phone call on Wednesday to say, will you come and photograph our wedding tomorrow? And it's like, and I'm like, cool, yeah, I'm free. And I was chatting to him on the phone, and he was like, right, I must go get myself a suit and get some mass booklets printed. Genuinely, the day before. And I was like, but there was mass booklets at that wedding.
But that's the thing, and like, if we can, we will. That's the thing. We don't like to be like, no, I'm too busy, and like that. We don't book up. So it's just like that. The lead time might be longer. So we do encourage people. We say get in touch a month beforehand, but if you have the time and you're able, get in touch quicker. And like that, the thing with the stationery is you can have it designed and we can keep it on file for you. And your wedding can be Christmas time, and we'll touch base again close to the time, and you're like, that's designed. All I need to do now is put the guest names on that table plan, or all I need to do is confirm the venue time, and we can just slap that stuff in.
So if you've got a spare few days, then why not get it done, like, even if it's 6 months out?
We have lots of teachers that come to us during summer. If you're getting married in 2023, or if you're getting married in Christmas, get on to us. Start doing it now when you have the time, or like, you know, it's so flexible. If you allow yourself the time. That's the thing. And we have people that are 2023 that are still on to us, and they're designing their stuff up now. And they're super organised. They're
super
like,
organised.
I'm ready.
I want to invite them now.
I love it.
And just so people understand, like, so we can give them a quick tip is, so we're talking about, so you might have a deadline of when you have to tell the hotel your numbers, and then the deadline before that is your RSVP date, which is when they want to receive them all back, and then they might have a time when they want to send them out. But the 4 weeks back is kind of from that date when you want to send it out. And then if they're kind of cautious or they like the design process, they should really come to you more like 6 or 8 weeks beforehand. Or you're saying they can come a long time before that if they really want to get a touch for the design process.
Yeah, like I said, that turnaround time, like the design process, the week to 10 days before you get your first digital proof, that doesn't mean you have to go straight to print with that proof. You can be like, I'm happy with that, and I'll touch base again with you in a few months' time closer to the date, and we're like, perfect, that's on file, and get in touch when you're ready. Like, there's no rushing with that. So if you are lucky that you have time on your side, start the ball rolling now. But like that, if you are to offer time, that's usually the timeline, and like that you would maybe send them out 4 to 3 months before, or 3 months before, the 8 to 10 weeks beforehand, and you would aim for your RSVP to be like a month to 2 weeks. And then that again depends on the type of RSVP you have. So there's the postal one, or you could have text and email option, which is then obviously a quicker reply, so you don't have to allow the week for your postage of your RSVP to get you. Like, so
cool. Let's talk about that, because that could be interesting.
Cool. He's really loving administration.
It's the best thing ever. But no, RSVP, because like, you would presume, like, and I suppose we're always saying when we do the final call, like, and that could be like 4 weeks to 6 weeks before the wedding, they're kind of like, oh, we're still chasing people.
Yeah, you do get that. And like, that's the thing with the on the day bits too, which we would suggest to touch base maybe a month before the wedding day but then we don't go to print with them until the week of the wedding, because like
the table plan and the names and stuff.
You're still probably chasing people. Even the booklets, sometimes the people that are doing readings might be like, oh, actually can't, and you're changing and chopping.
Okay.
Again, if you want to be organised, we can like leave people's names out of wedding booklets if you're like, I'm not sure of that. There's still ways to get around that, but like we would always suggest the week of the wedding to go to print for those things. But then again, start the design process and touch base with us a month beforehand.
Okay,
it's plenty
makes
of time.
sense.
Yeah. We have like booklet templates done up and everything.
I was going to ask you that question because it seems to be like the number one question that's asked online is, can somebody send me a wedding ceremony booklet, like a template? What goes into it? How do I do this? But you have the templates.
We have like the kind of run of the mill kind of one, but we always suggest to get your priest to give it an okay, because sometimes they can be pretty particular about the mass that they do. You know, it's
when the flash mob is supposed to get up and start, the priest might not be.
They need a bit of heads up about that. No, but so we always just suggest that, because there's nothing worse than when it's all done, all formatted, and then they're like, the priest wants us to scrap this part, and we need to put this in instead, and you're like, they're just making work for themselves then in the long run, where it's like you can nip it all in the bud if you just show him the template, and he's like, that's grand. So it's just, I suppose, a helpful tool. Like the Wedding Scribblers have been around for like nearly 9 years, so we've trial and
seems like longer.
The trial and error is done, you know, so we know what works, and that's the thing.
I'd
What
say
you get
about
when
the
you come with
RSVP.
us.
So the different way people RSVP, is there like a common one that the lads probably see that people actually respond to better?
We actually never really hear much of that, but we do know that people love the postage one. They say like when it comes in the door, it makes it real, and we do have people be like, oh, we were getting the RSVPs back now, and everyone's raving about how great they look, and we're so excited now. It's kind of like the first time I think that the couple are like, God, this is really happening, because the guests know now. There's no going back like when you invite people, is there? Do you know?
That's it.
And they're like, oh, it's getting really real. And
actually thinking about that, do you know, like, so like we have a few of these where people did a small wedding, say last year, the year before, but they're also having, like, it's actually a second wedding. There's no other way to describe it. They're having a second wedding. And this is like this is where you need the invites, because this is going to be 200-300 people. This is invite everybody you want to see in the last 2 years. Are you getting that a bit? Like,
we are,
not 2-day weddings, 2 weddings.
So we've had people who would have went ahead with the smaller scale thing. They would have nearly done the thank you cards and everything, and then they're coming back and they're like,
they did a thank you card for the first one.
Brilliant.
If anything, like if you did a small scale thing, you still would have had people who would have reached out, being like, oh, we wish we could be there. Hope you have a great day. Sending gifts and well wishes, and you still want to be like, look, this was us. We had a great day. And then it's like that. They're having like a party, celebration, and a way to kind of, I suppose, lock it in with all the.
Put the wedding dress back on again. Get dolled up. Why not?
Of course. Why not? Exactly.
That's it.
And for us as well, like we were still working on smaller scale weddings, and it was like sometimes you really do get like not attached, but you're like, sorry, little children, like the stage. You're like, you don't get to see them out in the world. Sometimes I love looking over like photography, and I was like, I wonder is that her sign in the back? When it's like a wedding that you worked on, you love to see like the booklets being interacted
in place, in the product actually being used.
It's doing this part, you know. And you wouldn't have had a lot of like volume, I suppose, like Joe would have been small scale. So now it's good to have them back again, where you're like, oh, like big table plans. Like it's so nice to see that people get to share their day again. With people.
You're fine, Jade.
You're
fine.
You're clapping hands, banging the table, and you're all like this on the mic, just really testing out my audio skills.
Jason, 2022, come on!
The quick one on the RSVPs is the old thing used to be like, oh, you get something back and you're like, oh, I don't know who sent me this back. Is there tricks to that? Or is that kind of gone? Like, have people worked that out, how to kind of make sure that they don't?
We would say, like, write your name here, and hopefully they would write their name
there.
We
got RSVPs back that were blank for our own wedding.
We can number
We were
them.
like, sure, look, there's 2.
See, there's ways, like, we can do printed names on invites, and we do run the RSVP too, but then you run the risk of, like, if you are, like, inviting more than one person, but only one person is coming, do you know? So then it's like that group who's coming out of it if it's already pre-printed. Do you know how are you going to know? Is it the 5 of you, the family is coming? Or
yes, if it's a household invite rather than like a named invite.
They might have to tweet that in their handwriting.
Yeah, exactly. So then it's sometimes best to keep it blank for that.
Okay.
But we can print names so that they're going to be pre-done, but then like that, or we can number them so you know who they went to. And I suppose at the end of the day, they're your guests, so sometimes you have to be like, guys, who the hell sent this blank one? So in the group chat, was it, you know?
Excited to see you, but I'm not too sure who you are.
And then to bring you back to the second weddings, we're calling them, the second weddings, kind of the larger big party wedding. I think that's a good way of communicating because I think we did one that was Australian and stuff, and they got married in Australia, came back and had the big Irish wedding, and I suppose that's going to happen as well when international travel is totally opened up. Like giving people the information as to what's happening on your day, because it's not a normal day, as in the old standard kind of routine. You might be doing things out of order or slightly different, or not doing a ceremony.
There might not be a ceremony,
doing a renewal or whatever it is. This is your chance actually to communicate people so that they understand what's going on.
Well, that is always what the invite is, the tool of communication. It's the first, like you said, point of contact for people. You know, it's kind of the first look of the day, and even if it is the second day or the bigger celebration afterwards, it'll just be a tweak of the wording. But like that, there's so much ways to get so much out of it. Yeah. Like we do lots of like schedule little timelines. They're so handy, especially, you probably know yourself, guys, we do like if you have a group photo planned and you want all your guests to be at 5 o'clock ready for a photo, and people are staying in the venue, they might be going up to the rooms.
Oh yeah, don't talk to me, Jade.
Like, where's everyone at? Like, it's such a good way to be like, at 5 o'clock, by the way, we're going to do group photos, so everyone be around, or like that, the reception, like how long is until the dinner, people might get packaged. So like things like that, they're really handy to have, and like that, if it's not an ordinary kind of run-of-the-mill wedding, you can have that to inform people about it. You know, make the wording your own. Like, they really are there to put your own stamp on the day, like, and that's like, we would always just try to guide people, be like, usually people would say this and mention this. Yeah. But at the end of the day, it's your wedding and you can have it your way, and we're just there to make sure it looks beautiful and is legible and will be received well. That's all.
And that is something people have learned over, like, people have always said that, do it your own way, and you know, to be unapologetic about it in a sense. The last 2 years have really kind of, like, people have learned that more and more, because I think even though, like, you know, now you can go back and do what you could do before, people are like, but I don't want to do it the way it was done before. I want to do it my way.
It's so true, and it's right, you know, it is your way, so definitely make it your way. Yeah.
But I think it's important though that you do communicate, and even like simple things like telling people it's an outdoor ceremony versus an indoor ceremony, so that I bring a coat because we live in Ireland. Exactly. Or if it's going to be like in a really obscure location, that you'd be like, well, the Jimmy shoes are staying at home and we'll wear the slightly less expensive shoes. I know it's out because you could be in the woods.
We also do, like, we've always done as well, where we can do 2 batches. So if you have like, let's just say half the families from up the country, so they're going to need directions, but the others are local. Do you know, we can have ones that will have directions included, or maybe like the day 2 is just for the close friends, so you have a batch that have the day 2 information and a batch that doesn't. Very good. Just hoping that they don't talk to each other and be like, are you wearing the day 2?
What are you wearing to the day 2?
You get a lot of things where people are kind of like, it's not an open invitation to the second day, and that it's like, it's only 40 people or it's only 60 people.
Yeah, but like, that's their prerogative. Do you know what I mean? We're never like, really? Like, we're like,
but the venue might not be big enough for 300 people as well.
100%.
There was a lad on RT, I won't mention his name, but pretty much he was telling everybody he doesn't like kids and they shouldn't be coming to his venue type thing. But do you ever have people like, kids are not welcome?
Well,
nicely said, Benny.
We're there to help them word that delicately. Like, we have had it like where they want the adults to have a night off, do you know, when it's adults only. Or like sometimes people don't want gifts and they would prefer cash, so they have a way of like.
Do they put that in the invite? I think that should be put in the invite, if that's what the way you want it.
Well, that's it. If that's what you want, then this is the time to communicate it. You know, like no cameras as well in the ceremony, or like no putting stuff on social media. We've had one before, made a sign. It was like, we have professional photographers to take photos. You can take the night off. Because they saw so.
We see them all the time. To be fair,
like, their phones up. And
they get the blame. Sometimes the celebrant stands up and goes, the professional photographer said, and we're like, no, we didn't.
We didn't. The couple did.
And now 100 people hate us.
Oh, like, it's like the whole room at once just literally looks your direction and sits there with this really like deadpan look on their face, as in like, don't you tell me what I can do with my phone.
But it is one of those things, I suppose, we've forgotten about, but like there was a point, say, in 2018/19 where it was just mayhem in the aisles, and people were standing out, like Ant is out in the middle of the aisle recording the whole thing, and like
we've watched brides go around people, like zigzag up the aisle, because people are stepping out into it, and you're kind of going like, what are you doing? Like, it's not even nice for the groom. He can't even see her because she's behind the people with their phones.
You can see, like, people are excited to see the special person. And that's the thing, it's just a little touch base that you're like, look, do you know, on the day, for the ceremony, or like sometimes they don't want, like, they have people that are coming to the evening and they don't want to have that ruined for them. So they don't want anything on social media before they come up and stuff like that.
Some people just want to pick the first photo that's out there as well. They don't want the sidearm, scrunched neck, like bad lighting photo on social media, and they're tagged, it's on their page.
Like, on tag.
I promise the dress fit me right, just not at that angle.
But the invites are just a good way to touch base with that kind of stuff as well, or like signage on the day as well.
Yeah, and do you ever put it in the mass booklet as well? Like, is it kind of like, if you really are, like, I'm very serious about this, please don't, like, it's just in multiple places.
Or we have, like, even, like, booklets are probably the most common ones in Ireland, because I suppose we do have a lot of Catholic weddings.
Yeah.
But now we see people coming away from them, and they do, like, humanistic ceremonies and stuff now. And we have, like, order services, because a lot of the time as well, you have to think, the way the day goes, sometimes you don't get to see the guests and chat to them until after the ceremony.
That's true.
So it's a good little touch base. So you can have a little thank you note. You can have a little like, guys, we're going getting photos done, but enjoy the drinks reception and canopies. And like that, it's like a little heads up to who's in the wedding party and things like that. So it's really good to touch base with your guests. And stationery is like a way of doing that. Yeah. Without you having to stress that you can't talk to everyone before you go up the aisle.
That's totally it. And do you like with the booklets as well, because like people call them, we revert back to calling them mass booklets, don't you? Mass booklets, but they are ceremony booklets, and you find with the like, and it's all types of ceremonies. Use ceremony booklets. You don't have to be in a church with a priest in front of you to use the ceremony booklets. Yeah,
and so many people just stay not confined, but in the venue, and they do like the ceremony, and then they have the
all days in one place.
Yeah, so that's so common now. So we have like, I suppose like that you just adapt, don't you? Like, and one person will come about it, and then we're like, that's a really good idea. Yeah, we'll make sure to mention that for other people, you know. So,
and it's nice as well, because I suppose with the non-religious ceremonies, you do have things where you wouldn't be, I suppose, like if for especially the kind of slightly older generation, that they wouldn't be used to going to a wedding ceremony like that, and you've got things like the wedding elements when it comes to like sand pouring and hand tying and all that. Do they kind of like, they obviously put that all in the booklet to explain what's going on?
Or like the readings as well that they have to know. Like, you put time into these things, and sometimes it is nice to be like, there it is now, written down, and like people are always like, oh, they end up in the bin. They actually don't.
They don't. Oh, the ladies will be shoving them in the handbags.
Like people like sex, or like people come in and they're like, oh, the person I work with, this was her cousin's wedding now, and we like this design. Like, you're someone else's design.
Oh, she's like brought in someone else's booklet.
You're someone else's wedding inspo, whatever you like in it, you know. So don't be. And like, especially with the ceremony booklets as well. Like with this generation as well, some people aren't mass goers, so sometimes it's good, and you know your guests then, so you're like, this is where you kneel. Do you know, like, and you can have like
so
prompts,
true.
like showing the answers back. So
the amount of days where it's like half the congregation is kneeling and half, and it's usually like, so it's like, you know, you can't see the people behind you, so it's like the front half are standing, the back half are kneeling, and it's a really funny moment of no one realizes, and the priest is just like.
Like when people use the booklets, and I was like, if they don't know what to do, they'll be like, okay, where are we now?
Step by step.
Am I going to? So like they are handy.
Is there rules as to how many you should buy or print, in terms of like, say if you're 100 guests coming, should you kind of aim for like 60, 70, because you don't need 100 one for one.
We always say like, do you know, everyone now is like, everyone knows their guests, and like every couple is different, but we would say 3/4 cover, and that way then it's like your wedding party, or the people who are doing the readings, they all have their own one. Yes. And then you're having maybe couples share, because like obviously pre-COVID you could have went like one between two, and a few people would share, but now people would still like be like, and you don't want as well to have people be like, why don't I have a booklet?
You were late.
Too little as well, or you're like, oh, I want a booklet. So 3/4 usually covers it then.
Okay.
We usually say, so if you have 100 people coming, like 75 to 80 should be perfect. Yeah.
Perfect. And with save the dates, I know not everybody does a save the date.
They don't, it's very Americanized, I think. But
it's
very much over here. I feel like America does things first, and then
I always say that as well, Jade.
Yeah. And then we're like, we love it.
We'll be there in 5 years.
So it's not standard. Like I thought at this stage it might be.
Very common for abroad, people who are going abroad for their weddings, foreign weddings.
Well, you're leaving the country. Yeah.
And like, if you, especially at the moment, people are having like their postponements, but it's on a Thursday or things like that, you know.
Yes.
And it's just
Tuesdays, Jade, Mondays, Wednesdays, all the days.
Like, you know, it's still your special day, but you want to make sure people are like booking off work and things like that, you know. So it's just kind of giving your guests a heads up, and so that they can make time to spend that day with you, you know. And like I said, it's getting busy, and you do want to be the one that's like.
I love that. I love that you started with that, like, you know, get in there first so that you get to your wedding.
I know myself. I have weddings coming in now, and I'm like, oh, I'm very nervous now because I am actually pre-booked that weekend. Or, Joe, people are mad to go on holidays now. They haven't for 2 years.
That's
you don't want them to be away, and you're like get married, and you're like, God damn it!
I suppose we're quite work restricted, obviously, but like when
we don't have weekends.
When family weddings started moving around, it was like, oh, we can only go. And we have to leave early to do a wedding or shooting a wedding the next day ourselves, or no, it's totally free because it's moved again. It's like actually just by luck we can now block that weekend off. So some people are going to be very work restricted. So if you do get the date out like a year or a year and a half before,
it's just good to lock it in. Especially like I said before, if you have like a bank holiday, maybe like there's times that are really popular. Like sure, the bank holidays are always Christmas time as well. People like a Christmas wedding, like New Year's, things like that. People anyway would have plans those time of years. So you do want to make sure that your guests will just be available, and that's what a save the date does. It's the basic info and especially the date to be saved.
I suppose especially like the core people. I suppose you wouldn't have to like you could send save the date to your full guest list, I suppose. But if there's like 20-30 people that you absolutely like, you wouldn't go ahead with the wedding without them. Like it really is like throwing it out there. Please make this available.
It's a bit more official as well, because obviously like you're chatting to people and you're telling them we booked the date, but it's
you're kind of going, am I invited?
It's like put it up on the fridge, it's on the mantle. It's there now. There's no going back. It's on paper. So,
because you hear people chatting, they're like, oh yeah, so and so's getting married. I think we're going to that one as well. I'm not sure now, but I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure we're to that one now as well. But like this year as well, with the amount of weddings going on, you're dead right with like locking people into your wedding, because we've been talking to people and they've been like, we've 12 wedding invites this year. Like, and because it's I suppose it's the age group. So like your group of friends are all going to be a similar age, and it's kind of like that 30 to 35. Like that's probably the most. It's the average age for getting married. Obviously, younger and older get married as well.
Everyone,
But like if you've got a large group of friends and you're all the same age, there's a good chance you're all getting married the same year.
Most of our business is from like recommendations. People are like, oh, my friend was here last year with you. So you even see that yourself. The friend groups are like the sisters and like or the brothers, or like they're all coming back to you, and you're like, you need to make sure like that your date is in, like, it's important.
Yeah, no, it is a really good point, especially I think especially for this year, and next year's kind of looking similar, to be honest with you.
It is true.
Yeah, it's great. And then 2024 are on it, 2025 have started looking, and you're like, my goodness. But I suppose when it comes to like there's loads about invites and I keep calling them mass booklets, ceremony booklets.
But in terms of the teams, because I kind of kill the team conversation.
You love a good team.
Yeah,
he
does.
There's
been interesting stuff, like whether because like people go for like the marvels and they have like cufflinks, socks, everything like marvel or whatever it is, and then like you could have a favorite movie or kind of a season or whatever it is. Has there been kind of interesting stuff that you've kind of seen like flow through and are done in a clever way or something different?
Yeah, like you can still keep a theme tasteful. Like, if you have like, no, 100%, like you have a bit of floor, you can still bring it into your soccer plan, your football table plan.
Right.
Like a lot of times we have like.
But you don't have to have a restrained projector up in the match on the background at dinner.
Whatever you're into. But we've had such fun ones. I think one of the most out there when we had Simpsons, that was really fun.
Cool.
And we had like people.
We did that wedding. That was down in Ballinacurra. The table plan was Simpsons.
It was so fun, And they were like, we just love Simpsons. And we've had someone who'd be like, yes. Usually the groom was like, yes. I don't know.
Yeah, but it was actually the groom brought me over and he's like, look at our table plan. And he was like, it's the Simpsons.
Yeah.
It's
and
like,
we've had like Harry Potter. People go like all out Harry Potter. We had a massive Lord of the Rings one before as well. Game of Thrones. Then you have people like who are really into certain sports. We've had like American football. We've had tennis. Last week actually we had 2 horse racing ones because Grand National was on. So those fans were out in force as well, and like they're just really fun to play with and around, and like it's like. As a creative person, you love when people are willing to be creative. Yeah. So you are like, yes, come on, let me help you make this happen.
Let's get alternative people. Yeah. Let's get alternative.
We've had like festival theme ones where people were really festival goers. Travel ones is probably the most common one.
Yeah,
and the table plan, it's like the country's like a photo of them at the country, and it's really like your own. Like
selfie at each country around the world.
Like, no one else is gonna. So if you're at the moment in a relationship, think about this. This could be your table plan.
Travel, people, travel.
Take good photos. You don't know when you're going to use them.
Or get the green screen up and be like, we're in Australia.
So they're really fun.
I noticed that you had like kind of extra printing, like I call it novelty. Sorry if I call it novelty, but like betting slips and stuff, because you mentioned the horse racing and stuff. But you've got betting slips, colouring books, and all these extra little things that people might not think of.
Colouring books?
Yeah.
Where did you see? Did you colouring books?
Yeah, we do colouring books. Yeah, sure. The kids have to be entertained.
You know what I mean?
We do like a kind of little activity book for kids, and we do the betting slips. And we've done like I Spy, like his and her quiz little cards, favourite cards. That could be like for on shot glasses.
I actually love the Mr. and Mrs. Quizzes on weddings.
Yeah,
like usually after the meal when everyone's after having a couple of drinks, and it's absolutely hilarious. Like it really is. Yeah.
But people see a lot of stuff online as well. Like Pinterest is like that. Like we never copy anything. We always say that we're like we cannot make it identical. That's someone else's work.
Yes.
But like if you like certain elements of something or like that, you've seen like someone have a quiz, we can tailor that to be more for you, and we can do this kind of thing. So we've had a lot of people in the day be like, "Can you do something like this now?" Like little song request cards that look like cassettes, and they're like, "Do you know, they give them to the DJ." I'm pretty sure the DJ probably didn't like that. Do you know, things like that. Like,
write that down to ask the DJ when he comes in next week.
You'd be like, "Damn, Wedding Scribblers."
You're going to start getting phone calls from DJs all over Ireland being like, "What have you done?"
I know a few, they're going to kill me. They're like, "What did you do?" Or like, you know, like, where should we go on our honeymoon? You know, prompt cards, wedding advice cards, things like that. They're just a fun way to get the guests more involved on the day. And like afterwards then they're like keepsakes for yourselves, you know.
It's true.
Yeah. We've had people have hashtags for their weddings and
like do you do the cardboard framing where they can like have
Insta,
and they have the Insta
they're not like so popular anymore now. They were, I think, a few years back. They've kind of,
I think it was a 2018 thing. It was like
in the little
and I had the hashtag whatever on it. Yeah.
Get people to get little cutouts for photo booths done up, like special ones. Very popular, and I suppose people, when we think of the remembrance signs, people like this seed is saved for someone who's from in heaven today. Like things that like you wouldn't think of, like they really do help make the day special for someone, just to like give a nod to that person who can't be there in the day. Things like that, you know, and like that is just a way to put your own stamp on the day. And stationery as well it doesn't have to be such an expensive thing, you know. We can work up packages for people and we can keep the design going across, and it really adds to the decor and stuff like that, or the colour scheme or whatever you choose to go with, or you go hard on a theme. We love that too. So
because people do think straight away invites when they think stationery. You think wedding stationery, they go, oh yeah, invites, but it's like it really is like probably only a very, very small percentage of the stationery available.
We're lucky because we actually can do it all, because there is some people who only do invites, and we get people then coming to us at a later stage being like, oh, my invite designer doesn't do booklets, can you? And then they're like, oh god, and there's these signs, I didn't even think of that. And then they're like, a lot of people say our showroom is fab, but it's gorgeous now, and we're with having told in there. But people are like, oh my god, I'm going to do some damage in here now, because I didn't even know I wanted, like, it's only they see the place.
It's almost like hashtag ad coming to the monster.
And they're like, I want that now, and I definitely want that now, and I'm going to get them too. And like, it's just, I suppose it's there to show you that there is so much more that you can level up the day with.
That's it, like, because you get people that go to weddings regularly, but we do go to weddings sometimes, and like they'll say to us, listen, you're gonna have to guide us like every step of the way, because like we haven't been to a wedding in like 15 years. I'm the first person to get married in my family, and like they'd be showing you things that like they're like, oh my god, did you see this sign? And you're like, and you kind of go to them, yeah, it's amazing. I've seen it like 150 times before, but it's their first time seeing it, because
it's the first time getting married. You know, usually,
that's it. So actually, like having the showroom and going in, and like even just having these things, because I suppose when you explain something to somebody, when it comes to like, oh, you're going to put a sign at the door with your names and welcome to a wedding, you're kind of like, oh, okay, cool, yeah, all right. But then you actually see it, and you go, oh, okay, no, I get it. It's part of the decor. It's actually,
We're like you're creative people. You're in creative industries, with photography. Like you kind of can visualize it, but sometimes people they're not
can't.
creative. So they're like, I don't really know how it's going to look. And we're like, it's okay. Like we're here. We're gonna do it for you, and we do digital proofing through everything, like even the large signage. So everything you get to see on screen first before it goes to print. So that's the opportunity to make any tweaks if you want and stuff like that. So we have that available.
Stationery is very much part of the decor as well, and I think people like, because even when it comes to table plans, I've seen table plans done the most gorgeous ways. Like it's actually a massive feature as part of the decor kind of thing.
We do the cards, and they were always like, and by the way, the props are to have it told, and they have the gorgeous ladders and they have the hoops, and
that's it. And even just the floral displays around them, and it really ties in really lovely to the wedding.
We're so lucky to work with girls too, because it's a dream team then, like, because we should
have got Sandra and Kelly to come in with you. You have to come back.
They better be giving us some kind of plug. They're here. I'm just joking. No, it's so good to work with them, and like that. Like I mentioned
but even
before.
like that, I suppose the name places and stuff, like people's actual names on the tables, like because you're getting down to like the real nitty gritty like details of the wedding day. But like, I mean, even just the texture or the color of the paper to to fit in with the text. And I know that sounds like maybe a little bit trivial, but like I would be one for like that cream tone to that paper looks lovely with the greenery behind.
Like me as a designer, I love like event design. Like that's my favorite. And a wedding basically is like the event of your love. Yeah. So I love when it like carries through.
Event of your love. Oh, she's I love it.
Unpressured coverage from a photographer last week. Now it's the
event of your love. Oh, the quote.
All the buzzwords are coming out.
Caption now that.
Don't worry, it's that's Jade's quote now going forward. Yeah.
And like you love that, like if you have something like going through the day, like it all ties in together from the invites to the on the day bits to the thank you cards. Like you think like maybe sometime down the line, your guests will be like, oh my god, that's the same kind of floral design that was at like Tim and Rachel's wedding day cards, and like it's just a little like reminder of the day for people then, like and even for yourself, you're like, oh, I love that now in our cards, that's like ours, isn't it? Remember our big day?
It's true. It is true though, and I've seen people like taking their names off the table and put them in the handbag with the mass booklet, or they're bringing them all home as keepsakes. Like I've had women coming up to me when I'm leaving at 11 o'clock at night and they're opening the handbag showing me what they've taken from the day, and I'm kind of going, are you supposed to have all that though? I think the hotel actually owned that. But people love it. Yeah.
We always have even couples forgetting to put their own invite aside, and especially on the day, I suppose yourselves, like when they have them there for photography, like I said,
I kind of prompt people if you could have the invite like around, or even the RSVP card, or even the mass book, just because it's all part of your details. Lovely, it is, and it's lovely for flat lays and putting all the flowers and everything together that you've put it all.
And definitely, if you're working with us, we love getting the photos back, and we always credit the.
She's like, hint, nudge, I haven't seen a photo in ages.
Guys, I give you a list of people we're working with at the moment. I'm like, do you have any of these?
Send them all on. Send them all on.
No, but it's so fun to see like out in the wild, because you don't get to, and you work with a couple for like, and like it is like you put effort into designing it, like the couple do too. They're thinking about these things, so you don't want it to be like trivialized and on the day just forgotten about. You do want it to have a place.
That's it, because if they have put, I suppose on the day, because there's so much going on, like we not that you forget, but you're kind of slightly unaware of the amount of work that went into that small little logo there, like with their initials together, or that color scheme. But like there's been weeks of time have gone into that.
Good design is invisible, so that's the thing. It won't be in your face.
That's why it's just so good, Jade.
It'd be subtle, but that's it. It just level up the day, and like someone would be like, oh, look at the name, this is where I'm sitting.
No, it is lovely. It is lovely, and I suppose
the end of the world if you don't have it as well. Like that's the thing. Like we know people work with budgets and things that you do have to have a venue sometimes. Sometimes
Marquee in the back garden, Jade. Marquee in the back garden.
It's there if you want it, and like that's the service that we have, and we do the thank you cards too.
I was about to ask about that. I suppose that's then like everything's done. You've gotten your photos from your wedding photographer, and
the thing with thank you cards too, they're a lot more relaxed. Like people are always like, when should I? Like it's been 3 months now. Or you're like, it's okay. Like touch base. Like some people do.
I get thank you cards a year and a half later. Going, I'm only getting into it now.
People were like going back into their cards. I'm like, who's this woman? But no, like there's no time frame really. Like people usually try in maybe sometimes a few months after, or even the year, the anniversary, or sometimes people link up and they have them as their Christmas cards as well. It's true. So like, they kind of add into that as well. So, and then like that.
Saving the stationery cost.
And we can do we always do like kind of custom designs to like showcase the photos that they love the best. Yeah. So we can do a collage with a few in the front, or little few in the inside, or just one in the front, one in the back. There's different styles, different ways to show.
Do people ever do their thank you cards without a photo?
Yeah, some people do on the day, especially like if you've had people traveling to the place, you kind of want to like maybe put them in the room, or when they check in, there's going to be a thank you card that's like, guys, thanks so much for joining us today. So sometimes they are a touch base there as well. Like I said, I'm always like about touching base, but I just think stationery is a great way to be like, thanks for coming, you're not going to actually see someone in the I've
probably seen it, never took any notice, but like that's a really nice thing to do, like for people that made a massive effort to come, because like some people travel, oh my god, they travel from all over the world, they make such a big effort to come to weddings. It's amazing.
Just to have a little nod to them, and like
or one thing that was coming up was kind of it just made me think of it's always about communicating and whatever, but like it kind of started before COVID, was kind of like the travel pack or the hangover pack, like different things. So on the day, if you had a big travel, they were kind of like, here's a sandwich and a sweet and a drink or whatever. Like, here's a mask, hint, hint. But then we also see, that's like to have a hangover pack for like the groomsmen type thing. So actually you could print out something extra and a little funny or explain what is actually going on in this mad little gift.
That's it. Or we do like the little favour stickers. So even like that, it would just be like the initials and a bit of like whatever kind of theme you have, or floral or colour.
Yeah, because I've even seen like confetti packets, and then they've got the sticker on the confetti packet. Like, and these are things that, like, you know, like there's so much thought been put into it.
Yeah,
and as you said, like, it's almost invisible, but like the whole day just feels like it's all just flowing together. That's it.
That's the magic.
That's the magic.
And then one other thing that I nearly like wet myself before this conversation was when you mentioned QR codes being used.
Oh yeah, so, like, sorry Benny, sorry, that was the most thing you were excited about. I never talked about it. Sorry, apologies.
Again, another COVID thing that's like really taken off. It's like QR codes were dead. Everyone's like, what are we going to use these for? And then they started using them for vaccine passes. But
thank God.
But so actually, like, so digital versus prints, like we were discussing, like, the difference between actually having something in your hand and kind of being able to post it back or touch it really makes a difference. And that actually, we have to talk about proofing before you go as well.
Well, I start writing down a longer list for Jade. Jade, do you want to hurry?
The way you can kind of combine or kind of connect your print to digital, if there's loads of information, or what are people doing with QR codes? You can put a QR code on
like obviously there's like websites and stuff out there, like there's a lot of options other than print, of course, we know that, but print is such tradition, and I think and like there's such a place for it still, you know, especially with older guests. And again, like that's where you'd still maybe do the postage or SVP for people. But like that, like sometimes people do want to put like the kitchen sink onto their invite, and we're like, there is a place.
Let me tell you about our love story.
We're like, we'll do what we can, but we are limited for space when it's print. And like that, we can just give like a nod, a QR code that'll go to their website, or even like sometimes it goes like straight to their like RSVP, so that's their RSVP style. So if you are digital savvy and you do love that kind of stuff, it doesn't mean that there doesn't have to be any print on the day. Like there's still place for it, and they can link up together and have a beautiful marriage, if you will. Do you know what I mean? There is space for it.
Or even audio, because I got slagged so much. Does anybody ever put audio, like you open up like the birthday or the Christmas card, like there's a song playing and
can you imagine if I let him organise our wedding, Jade? Can you imagine?
So I'm thinking that this QR code can now go to like some mad production of a video.
Yeah, of course, yeah, that's what you're into, then definitely. But we can't obviously record people's voices like that.
Do you not sing into it for them, Jade?
We're working on it, maybe in the future.
Yourself and Derek could have a little duo.
Can't do it. Oh God, cut that out there, don't dump that in.
It's going at the start and the end.
Proofing, because I know from proofing when you're printing stuff. So proofing areas, to give people like a tip, like if something's in, like this is your proof, and there's an area, anything that's in that area is getting printed just to give people a tip on how to review a proof.
We're quite lucky with the in-house printing. Again, like I said, like sometimes people don't have that, but we do, and like that, it does give us the option to give people a sample print. So before they do go to print, because obviously things going to look different on screen. So it's a backlight, especially even with the thank you cards. I'm always like, do you want to see one printed beforehand? We've had people before, and the photos are taken at dusk. Yes. And then they
can be quite dark.
You know? Like, so then you're like, you know, it's going to look different with this backlight. They're like, it's so bright on screen. You're like, but that's because it was on screen. Do you know? And that's the difference.
Mobile phone versus printed out. People really kind of go, that's completely different.
Like, you know, so we have that option there, and it is included in the price. You get one printed sample. So you do get to see it before it's done, especially when people want bespoke stuff too. Sometimes they want to see it printed too, like, and see the colour. If they're going for the colour scheme of the day, they do want to make sure it's.
But I suppose even just for the margins, and like, you know, you've always got a little bit of bleed when you've gone to, like, with the digital proofing and everything, but then everybody understands that.
And sometimes, like, because of the, like, obviously, because when you're you can only send files so large when you're emailing them. Sometimes they are a lower quality. And things look like pixelated, but we print them at the top standard, the highest standard, obviously. And even like that with the thank you cards, if they're not sure if the photos, I know you guys, you probably batch them so that you have people like the smaller files for them.
You've got websites and you've got high resolution,
and then there's a print, and sometimes people send us screenshots or they send us like the print version. We can check check all that stuff and we're able
I've
to
had
like,
you on to me going, this is like 300, like, no,
They're
it's
very
nothing.
like,
It's 300
the Wedding
kilobytes.
Scribblers are complaining about this photo, guys. You're like,
I'm like, here's the 16 meg version, lads, work away.
that's the thing, I just think about it. And like, people don't think of that stuff, and we're just there to guide them. And
But
make
do,
sure
like,
that
and
stuff
it's
is
actually,
done.
I'm laughing at the screen print because,
Screen print,
like, you know, the app you send to people and like they can download the photographs from their app when they get it. And like it even gives you an option of like download high resolution, download web resolution, whatever you want. And like it's really easy. Like if you hit the button and you pick one, screen print.
No, yeah.
And then try to crop around the edge, and you're like, oh no.
I had someone before send me a photo of their photo, and I was like,
oh no.
I was like, love this. I love that you were literally wanting it done straight away. I was like, but we need the original one. But like at some point in time, people are happy with that,
and
so
it's
you're
fine
like,
that not everyone knows.
I'm just going to flag it with you that this isn't the best quality. We could do it better for you if you're able to get the files. Some people are like, I'm actually delighted with that. And that's the thing, like you have the trained eye, so it's your job to just inform and be like, we can do X, Y, and Z. But sometimes people are like, I'm actually grand with that. Like that's perfect. And it's their day. And it's
we
their
see
way,
things
you know?
differently, I think, anyway.
Yeah, I like even at that same 300 DPI, people are like, what? You're like, you know,
what
you
does that
forget
mean?
That's the lingo.
Yeah.
Like, what are they? Even now, people are watching like, what are they on about right now? You know, it's just you have to just kind of be like, look, this is.
But you don't have to be tech savvy to get your thank you cards printed. Like, that's
and
it.
like that, we're just there to be like, look, we've checked that. It might print a bit blurry, but we can do test print, and if you're happy with it, then perfect. If not, there's options that we can do from there. So yeah, that's it really.
Yeah.
Giving people the options.
That's it. And I suppose that the main thing to let people know about is you do have that beautiful showroom. And you're like the showroom at Munster Weddings now. It was different before. Did you change it to Munster?
Yeah, we changed it to Munster.
Yeah. But you're still in the same place. You're still on the Kinsale Road roundabout, isn't it?
Yeah, by the big blue pet stop. It's the same. It's the same one where the big Smith's Toy Store is. That's how people know us. It's like, you know, we're like the big blue pet stop. That's us down here.
Head towards Smith's.
Head towards Smith's, exactly. Yeah, and can people just like, are you appointment only, or can people just walk in and have a chat?
No appointment needed. So yeah, there's no appointment needed.
Lovely.
Saturdays can be busy.
Okay.
So if you are time restricted yourself and you can only be there for an hour, ring ahead and be like, look, can I slot in and be there for like 12 till 1? Can I chat to someone? And then we prioritise you coming in. But obviously, because if the girls are talking to someone already, you'll have to wait around.
Can't split themselves in half.
You know what I mean? That's the only
in the
thing.
meantime, you've gone around the whole shop, just bought everything.
Doing damage. You're like, oh, the budget.
And you're with to having to hold us all, aren't you? So like when you're going into you can look at your, stationery options, but you can also look at a large range of
and they do flowers and everything.
decor.
And like that, I think that's what's nice as well. You kind of really see it. So if you aren't an imaginative person, you kind of like, that's exactly what it's going to look like, except our names. You know?
Yeah, exactly. In that background with that decor.
In the day as well, and it's going to touch base with people. And we're open Tuesday to Fridays.
Okay.
And then Saturdays as well.
Okay.
So that's
lovely.
Yeah, that's great.
Jade, thanks so much.
Thanks for having me, guys.
There's so many quotes now we have from Jade that we can just use.
Guys.
We could put it into a song and add it to a card.
Trademark, okay? Where's my legal?
Trademark. I love it. But thanks for coming in, Jade.
No, thanks for having me, guys.